Hello and welcome to the Year 9 options video for geography. I'm going to go and give you an overview of the course, what's being studied, how it's assessed, and then why this could be potentially the route you take at Key Stage 4. So geography, we use the AQA, and the specification code is 8035. If you type that into Google, that black line, then it will come up and you can explore it a little bit more, go into a little bit more detail about the specification and any more questions. You can just investigate it further. The outline of the course is a GCSE. There are no tiers, so there is no higher or foundation. That means that you can get grades 1 to 9 all on the same paper, so you're not restricted in that sense. There are 3 exams. First exam is the physical environment, which is all the natural things, and that's an hour and a half. Second exam is the human environment, and that's all the man-made things, another hour and a half. And finally, the third exam is geographical applications, which combines their fieldwork understanding and an issue evaluation. I'll go on to that in a little bit more detail. So there's 3 exams. They're all sat at the end of year 11. So at the end of the 2-year course, they will sit 3 exams. So in the physical environment, they've got challenge of natural hazards, living world, and physical landscapes in the UK. So the content that we cover there is the earthquakes and volcanoes, weather hazards, climate change, ecosystems such as the biomes and like tundra and things like that, tropical rainforests and how they the cause of deforestation, the solutions to deforestation, hot deserts and the adaptations and things for animals and plants, rivers in the UK, so how they create new landforms, how they're flooding, and coastal landscapes in the UK, which is all about how the coast interrupts the UK and how we manage that problem. The second exam, which is paper 2, which is again an hour and 30 minutes, which is the all on human. So we cover urban issues and challenges, the changing economic world, and the challenge of resource management. So within that, we look at urban issues in Manchester, so regeneration, gentrification, how things have changed over time. Urban issues in Rio de Janeiro, so we have to use a case study about how there are challenges and social challenges, and how those social challenges have been overcome by different acts and different initiatives by the government. Look at development gap and solutions to that gap, looking at how we can overcome it with tourism, with microfinance. We look at the UK's changing industrial structure. So originally what was the UK and what we're moving more towards, how retail has been moved out to a post-modern industrial economy. We look at transnational corporations. So we look at different companies that spread their facilities all over the world and operations all over the world, and the reasons why that is and how that benefits them. We look at water security and food security and energy security. So how much water and food do we have, and where do we get it from, and what allows us to have this, and what problems does that cause elsewhere? And we look at the solutions and causes to those insecurities of resources. So looking at how Kenya provides French beans to the UK, yet over 2 million of its citizens are still in poverty and hunger, even though they export all their food to the UK and we can access it. Things like that. The third paper, which is an hour and 15 minutes, that content covered is unseen fieldwork. So that's fieldwork that's unseen. So why would somebody have done that? What investigations? It's very scientific. Then they'll do their own field work where they look at the hypothesis, methodology, data presentation, conclusion, and evaluation. Again, very much like a scientific experiment. However, we'll go out and we will do that field work. So we'll go to Liverpool and we'll look at urban regeneration, and we'll go to Rhyl and we'll look at coastal management. The second part is issue evaluation. Can be on any aspect of any of the previous topics. So in 2018, it was water security. 2019, it was tropical rainforest management. And 2020 was urban issues in LICs and NEEs. These are all parts of the course that they've already studied, so it's going into a little bit more detail, and it's starting to justify and make reasoned arguments about why some things should or should not go ahead. So if we move on and look at the different structure of the exam questions, so within geography, as I said earlier, where they test all 3 bits of geographical skills all the way through the exams, they'll give lots of figures. So you can see the physicals and natural hazards here on the left-hand side. They'll give a question like that, and then using figure 1, name the type of plate margin. Some of the questions are lower tiered, lower tariff, where tick boxes, so they have to shade the right answer. Some of the questions relate directly to the questions that have been asked. So again, if you look at study 1.4, study figure 2, a block diagram, and then using figures 1 and 2 suggest why. So they have to apply their knowledge using the figures that are given. So almost like a stimuli, almost like something that's giving you more chance of understanding what the question is asking. Sometimes it asks you to do something directly to it. So on the right-hand questions, you can see is the graph talking about Arctic sea ice. Describe how it has changed. So they're looking for use of figures. They're looking for the trend and the pattern. And then 1.6, give ways that may have contributed to it. So what have humans done that may have contributed to this Arctic change in sea ice? Low tariff, and not all of the questions are shortened. So explain how volcanic activity and orbital changes may cause long-term climate change, and they're looking at the differences and looking at how you can bring your understanding and apply your understanding onto that question. Using an named example, evaluate the immediate and long-term responses to a tropical storm. So these ones are 9 marks plus 3 for spelling, punctuation, and grammar. So that'll be a 12-mark question. So those are the biggest questions you'll find in a geography GCSE exam. Will be 12 marks. Using a named example, which then you'd bring your own case study to the question, and then you'd have to evaluate. So look at the positives and negatives of immediate and the long-term responses to a tropical storm. So that's they would then create a reasoned argument, looking at both sides, looking at both positives and negatives, and that will get them into the higher marks. You'll also find that they'll give you, again, information on figures. So on figure 8, they'll look at a mine, and this is about deforestation. And in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see using figure 8 and your own understanding, explain how deforestation has economic impacts, and that was 6 marks. So you have to use figure 8 as a stimulus to get you to understand and to understand what they're talking about. And then you have to apply your own knowledge and your own examples as well. Also within there's some aspects that we can choose, and we've chosen to do hot deserts, we've chosen to do coastal rivers. And so when it's some of the questions, they have to decide whether they're talking about cold environments or the hot environments. And because we're going to do hot deserts, they would take that. But to what extent is your chosen environment at risk from human activity? So then they would bring into it their own understanding. But that one, again, is a 9-mark question. There's no spelling, punctuation, and grammar in that question. And none of them, if they don't have spelling, punctuation, and grammar allocate marks, then they will not be marked for that. So it won't be penalised for poor spelling. So where can geography take you in the future? It's a broad-based academic subject, open up loads of options for you in the future. They see it as a robust subject, skills, knowledge, and understanding rich in all of those things. And it links to the sciences and the arts, because science is very much the physical side of geography, and the human side is very much the arts side of geography. It's popular careers for town planning, surveying, conservation, weather forecasting, tourism, and the army, police, and government in are invested in the fact that there's lots of research skills and practical skills that geographers develop. If you have any further questions or issues, if you just contact me, I'm Mr. Jackson again, the lead practitioner for humanities. My email's there, so mj@thehayes.school. And if you've got any questions, any concerns, if you just want a general chat about the how it will go, if you just email me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day.